Welcome once again to Liberty's Great American Cookbook, the show that takes American classics and shows you how to cook them perfectly at home, using local ingredients and a lot of American know-how. Today we're going back in time to the heyday of American diners with a bunch of 1950s American classics. In a few moments, I'm going to be whipping up a bourbon barbecue grilled cheese. And later on, I'll be making my daddy's favorites, the Elvis and a brown cow. But first, let's say hi to my guest for today, Scotland's top mixed martial artist, Paul Craig. Paul, it's good to have you with us, and I hope you'll fit our dishes into your tough training regime. Pleasure
to be here. You know, I've been saving up the calories all week for the exciting food you'll get prepared for me.
Well, don't worry, we will definitely use those calories. But in America, it doesn't get any more classic than a pizza. And I went to see a pioneer of pizza here in Scotland to find out more. The pizzeria entered American life after World War II, when American GIs stationed in Italy came home hankering for some pizza. So in honor of the 1950s classics, I'm here at a Scottish institution, Pizza Magic, to learn from Marco, the owner of almost 30 years, how to make the perfect pizza. Now, I heard a rumor that you age your dough.
We age our dough between 3 and 5 days. That gives it more pliability, and it's instead of when you put it in your mouth and you have to chew in it, it just breaks away in your mouth and melts in your mouth.
I'm ready.
A big difference. Okay, here we go. Keep the dough up. What we're doing here is creating the crust. So what we do is hold your hands like that at the rim and just leave half an inch from the edge and just force it down hard as if you're trying to break through. Perfect. And from here we're going to keep the fingers inside the crust. We don't want to go over because you'll break the line. And in the middle we have the centre volume, and the reason we have to have that is when you're cutting through the base, you don't want the sauce seeping into the middle. Oh. So that holds the sauce in place between the rim and the centre volume.
Okay.
It's actually better than mine's.
I don't think so. Do I get to spin it around?
You're going to get to spin it.
Ugh.
I'm going to give you a demonstration.
That is a childhood dream.
Actually,
it's not a childhood
dream. Next step, I want you to pick up your dough.
Okay.
And I want you to slap it, it's falling, to get all the flour, the excess flour and polenta.
You do it so beautifully. Okay.
Fantastic. Then you want to hold it here. Then you want to pick up here.
Okay.
And just... Whoa!
I caught it. It didn't go anywhere.
Again.
Wait, I'm gonna get this, okay?
Whoa, right?
Wait, let me see it. Let me see
okay,
it. Let me see a pro.
Okay. Left hand up.
Left hand up. Was that better?
That was
I'm getting
much
it?
better,
okay.
Much better. So now we're going to get you to sauce.
I'm gonna sauce. Can I? Here, I'm gonna just taste it.
And it's like
too.
painting a wall.
I don't paint. I have to say I've never painted a wall. So what kind of cheese is this?
We use a fior di latte. It's mozzarella. It's a cubitata mozzarella.
Well, so now what do we do? Where do they go?
It's into the oven. So we pick up the spade.
Getting my own personalized crusty pizza. This is for me. It's not quite big enough, but I guess I'll make do with my own personal pizza from the master. The pioneer of pizza has made my pizza. I'm gonna burn my tongue, but it's really good. And thanks to Marco for showing us how to make the perfect pizza with a whole lot of love, even if he wouldn't let me in on all the secrets. So, how do we follow that? Well, I think we can handle it with a barbecue bourbon grilled cheese, which we're gonna start right now. So I have my nice white bloomer bread. You know, you can use any kind of bread you want. Sometimes I use sourdough. and we're gonna mix up a really delicious sauce. Now that's not usually what people do with grilled cheese. Usually just stick some bread and cheese in and off you go, but we're gonna make it a little bit special today. So I have about 1/3 cup of mayonnaise here, which is, oh man, my Americanisms again. I think that's about 120 milliliters, but don't count me on that one. I have some nice barbecue sauce here. It's about 90 milliliters, I believe. And then a little bit of hot pepper sauce. I like it really hot, so I always add a little bit extra, but do it based upon your taste because it's pretty hot. And then we're gonna add our special secret ingredient, a little bit of bourbon, and that's just gonna really give a rich depth to this sauce and take your grilled cheese from something sort of, I don't wanna call it boring, but something pretty simple and bringing it up a little notch. So we'll give that a nice stir, and then we're gonna finish it off with some fresh parsley, and make sure it's really fresh because I've tried it with the dry stuff and it just doesn't taste the same. So you're just gonna chop up a little bit of parsley here without smushing your fingers, and you really just bunch the parsley together, and then it's pretty easy to chop up. And you can leave some pretty big pieces. I like people to know I use fresh parsley in my food, so you don't need to mince it up into something tiny. So I'll give that a really nice stir, and then that's gonna be the base of our grilled cheese. So we take our bread over here. I put it on all sides. I'm gonna get a spoon, and that'll make it a lot easier to spoon out our delicious sauce. So you just spoon it onto all sides of the bread. And I am very generous because people tend to under butter or under sauce their bread. So you really wanna make sure you get that full flavor in there because we're gonna put in on a lot of cheese. So you wanna make sure that you can really taste that sauce. And spread it out to the corners. There is nothing worse than biting into a corner of a sandwich and not getting the full taste of everything in there. So we're just gonna spread that out, and you can see those really delicious big sprigs of parsley. It makes you feel like it's a really fresh, delicious food. Now I have a little bit of streaky bacon right over here. The only thing they had at the store is the prosciutto bacon, so that's what I got. You can sort of be inventive, but it's just crisping up over here in the pan with a tiny, tiny little bit of butter. So here are cheeses. I always go for a Gruyere. You can try cheddar though if you have a preference, and be generous with your cheese, okay? I mean, you don't want to sort of just dink around with it. You want to really get a nice big lot of cheese. So I do 2 slices per thing. We'll add another one since we have a little bit of extra. I have a feeling that Paul over there could eat a little bit of extra cheese. And then we're going to have our Swiss cheese right here. So I always think it's important to have 2 different flavors of cheese. You don't want to do the same. I was actually reading about grilled cheeses originally, and they became super popular during the Great Depression when you could finally have inexpensive sliced bread, you know, greatest thing since sliced bread, and slices of cheese. But then during World War II, when they were trying to go through austere times, you would only have bread with a piece of cheese on top. You wouldn't have a closed sandwich, and that's where the toasty came from. So our bacon is sizzling away here. We can lie it on top of our delicious grilled cheese, and that's gonna give that real smoky flavor and bring out that barbecue sauce and the bacon. Look at that, be generous. Okay, final thing is our tomatoes. So you don't want a soggy grilled cheese, and that's one of the worst things that can happen when you are making these grilled cheeses is that they get really soggy. So make sure that you slice out all of the seeds and the inner sides of the tomato, just leaving this nice piece right here. And then I only cut it up into little pieces. You don't want to have too big of a piece or people can't really bite into it, but just make sure you do that slide. Don't cut your finger while you're doing it, which I have certainly done before. And you're just gonna slide it out. And also, I have that bacon fat rendering in here, and it really brings out that crispiness of the bread if you keep that bacon fat in there. So just add a little bit of butter to your pan, but keep all that really delicious bacon fat sizzling away, and it'll add a whole other level to this very simple but elevated grilled cheese sandwich. And then you're just gonna keep sliding away, get everything all nice and delicious on there. I mean, look at that. How good does that look? We'll cut up a little bit more tomato, and then I always add, just sort of right at the end, a tiny little bit of parsley on the top. And it just, you know, this is a pretty heavy dish, and when you add just a little bit of green, well, there we go, spilling everything everywhere. When you add just a little bit of green, it can really lighten something that's usually quite a heavy dish. May not sound really useful, but I promise just this tiny little bit of green really adds to it. Sprinkled over also looks pretty. So now that our sandwiches are ready to go in, our butter is sizzling away. Squish them down really good. sizzle around your butter, and you can see that bacon fat in there. I wish you could smell this. It's like mouth-watering. And you just lay your sandwich in the buttery mish. If you have a big enough pan, you can put both in together, which I'm gonna squish them in and try to do. And then just press them down, and we're gonna bake them. We're gonna put them on the pan for about 2 minutes each side, really just till it's brown and until the cheese is melted. But if you can't get it don't get it too brown, and you can stick it in the oven to get the cheese to melt a little bit more. So I think we're due for a break now, but stay tuned, there's lots more in store, and join us in part 2, where we'll be making the Elvis and the Brown Cow, some American classics you are going to love. See you soon. Welcome back to our American Kitchen. It's 1950s American classics today. Our barbecue grilled cheese from part 1 is keeping warm in the oven, and I'm now going for a couple of classics you may not have heard of, but I know you'll never forget. And I want to say hello once again to my guest for today, Scottish mixed martial artist Paul Craig. Paul, you're a big star of the USC events. Do you get much grilled cheese in your diet?
The true answer is no, but I love grilled cheese and they sneak their way in there.
Well, we are seeping them in here today. So, a couple of dishes you may not have come across, but I hope you're going to enjoy them. And soon we'll be making a brown cow, that's a root beer float to you and me. But right now, I'm going to rustle up an Elvis Presley sandwich. You heard that right, Elvis Presley. Now we've done a little bit of a spin on it, okay? We're using croissant instead of the huge loaf of bread that Elvis used to eat. He actually used to take a whole loaf of bread and fill it with all this stuff. So we're taming down the calories today, but I promise we'll still get there. So per person, we do 1 croissant, and we're just gonna cut it in half, and that's gonna be the base of our Elvis Presley sandwich. So I have a little bit of bacon sizzling away right there, streaky bacon, not your bacon. The streaky bacon is the bacon to go for. And we're gonna caramelize our bananas. Now Elvis always used to have plain bananas, but we're gonna caramelize ours and make them really give that extra crunch along with the bacon in our dish. So it's really simple to caramelize bananas, and it really brings out the sugar. You know that if you have, an overripe banana, they're so sweet, you don't even need any sugar. So we're gonna caramelize them, and that brings out the natural flavors and gives it a really nice little crust on them. So I just have butter heating up, and this is low heat. If you have too high heat, it's gonna burn your what do you call this? Bananas, burn your bananas away. So keep a nice low heat with just a nice big chunk of butter. I'd say almost 100 grams per banana, which I know sounds like a lot, but you're eating an Elvis Presley sandwich, so you gotta just go for it. So there's our banana, and then the fillings for our sandwich are next. So for each sandwich, we're gonna use a nice raspberry jam, and be liberal with your fillings. As we said with the grilled cheese, you don't want people to be hungry, so really fill these things all to the top. So that's a nice raspberry jam, but you can use whichever you prefer. Have a lot of knives around here, and give it a nice spread. Then we're gonna stick on our crunchy peanut butter. That's a lot of peanut butter. I'll maybe split that between 2. And then you're gonna just slide that again. This is a very messy endeavor, by the way. Man, look at that. I could just eat that as is, but we're gonna toast it up nice and fresh. So now we're gonna add in our hazelnut spread, which is just gonna be divine, and spread that in there. I don't wanna know how many calories are on this one, but it's in there. So we're gonna slide it on this one as well. Look at how messy my hands are getting. This is fun, actually. Great thing to do with kids. We're gonna add a little bit of bacon into each sandwich. Be generous, as per always. And then I have a couple of bananas that have already been done right here, nice and caramelized. Gonna add those in, make sure you get a lot. They get that really nice brown crust on them. And then we're gonna close up our sandwiches, push it down, smush it. Oops, I did that the wrong way. Hold on, we'll unsmush it. Oh my God, look how good that looks. Ah! Okay, and now we're gonna put our jam in. And now, we're gonna clean our little hands before we finish. And we're gonna move our bacon over, keep it cooking, and just stick our croissants on the pan to get all nice and hot and toasty. So there you go, the amazing Elvis sandwich. We'll just finish cooking in a minute. Now, as my daddy says, you can never have enough sauce. So I'm gonna make Paul help me taste test barbecue sauces to choose which one we wanna dip in our barbecue bourbon grilled cheese. Okay, are you ready?
Yep.
Okay, are you ready for like a taste test?
I love sauce.
You have to be serious. Oh, you love sauce.
I love sauce.
Number 1. And we don't know whether this one's Scottish or, Scottish or American or Jamaican.
That's really sweet.
I don't like that, it's too sweet. It's like spicy sweet, no? Okay, ready for the next one? So we are no on that one?
No.
Okay, no. It's probably an American one. Okay.
There's a kick to that.
There's a kick, but it's a weird kick.
That's nice.
You like that?
It's a nice spicy kick to it.
Not me. You can have all the sauce if you like that one. Okay, last one. That's my favorite.
That's nice.
That's
a good sauce.
That was my favorite one.
I like the kick to the second one, but
okay, then you can have all that sauce. I even got the little kick in the back of my neck. Do you eat like a lot of sauces, like to get like spice up your training food?
When you're constantly eating chicken, or you're constantly eating meat, it's good to add a wee bit of sauce to it. But you've got to count it. You've got to count it as your calories. So I'll need to count
you
3
need
spoonfuls.
to count these 3 spoonfuls as your calories. Okay, so this is the one you liked. Jamaican, and I liked.
American.
I like the American one.
I feel pretty bad that none of us like the Scottish one.
I know. I really didn't like that
No,
one.
it was far too sweet.
Okay, so we'll put our sauce on our grilled cheese, but we're gonna make our brown cows first. Now, have you ever had a brown cow?
I've never had a brown cow. When you were talking about it, I was like, a brown cow?
A brown cow.
What's
This is worth every carb that you possibly have in your bank.
This you is.
This.
Cream and a beard.
It doesn't go well.
Doesn't go well. End up with cream up my cheek.
I will take all your cream for you. So we have about a pint of ice cream in each one of these. I thought, with your calorie, we should be generous.
Yep.
Yeah? Are you ready to eat all of this? Okay. So we're gonna add in some root beer, and you can use any type of root beer you like. So we just pour it in. And look at that. So a black cow is Coke, and a brown cow is root beer. So any kind of Coca-Cola versus any kind of root beer. So you leave it there. Now, you ready?
The cream.
The cream. So is this like, what do you eat normally when you're training and stuff? Not this, obviously.
I've got a nutritionist and he tells me exactly what to eat, what time, when to eat it, and
oh, you're like on it.
I need to do as he tells me.
You need to do what he tells you. A little bit of chocolate sauce. Don't show your trainer this, okay?
If he's watching this, he'll be having a hard time.
I know. We'll bring him one. We'll do an extra one, and then he'll be happy. And then the cherry on top. Marshmallows. Marshmallow cherries. Maraschino cherries we'll have on top. These are my favorite. Have you ever had one?
I like real cherries, but they're glazed cherries.
Is that what you call them, a glazed
cherry? Glazed cherry.
Oh, we call these maraschino cherries. And that's our root beer float. I brought you a straw.
Oh, I need to go for the pink one.
The pink one. I'll go for the light pink one. And there is our brown cow, all set and ready for the tasting. Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay, you have to tell me honestly what you think. I think I'm gonna keep asking people on here who eat really boring food all the time, because then it has to taste good, right?
I can't get mine out.
There's some extra roots here.
Nah, I'll just go there.
There you go. There you go. The beard, we'll get ready with the cream. The cream and the beard. Here you go.
That's nice.
See, that's what happens when you drink these, but they are so delicious that you can't help it.
As you need a big fat straw.
A big fat straw. Okay, we'll do that from now on. So, are we ready to taste test our grilled cheese and our Elvis Presley sandwich?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
It smells delicious in
Here's
here.
your Elvis Presley sandwich. You just go in and grab a bite. You just go for it. And then you have to tell me what you think. Honestly, though.
Okay, doke.
Oh, really good. Not good? You like it? Was this worth the carbs? So when you're fighting, how often do you train?
Every single day I've got to train.
How many have you trained today?
Trained today. I've already done 3 hours with my coach.
3 hours? I could eat 6 of these sandwiches for 3 hours.
They're delicious. The peanut butter in them.
You like it?
Massive peanut butter fan. But
Okay.
yep, 3 hours today. After I finish here, straight back out to the gym to do another 3 hours.
What do you do when you're at the gym?
All depends what we're working for. Different opponents, we work different strategies. So if I've got an opponent who's really good at grappling, then I'll try and beat them in the grappling area. So currently, what we're doing is we're doing a lot of pad work, we're doing a lot of strength and conditioning and getting our bodies into peak physical fitness, as well as eating this.
I'm getting mine into peak physical fitness with my
thanks so
root beer
much.
float. Yeah. So does that mean like if you're like on the street, like are you fight or flight? You know, some guy comes up and is like, what do you do?
You know, I was the best at running 100 metres. So all I need him to do is stand there and I'm away.
You're gone. You're good at the start.
So it's not worth fighting. It's not
No.
worth fighting out in the street. And it does happen. There is people out there who want to try and fight you, but it's easy enough just to run away.
I think I'd see how tall you were and run the opposite direction. My
beard- it's the
100-meter
beard that
dash
scares
would
them.
go a lot faster.
The
There's
beard
a good
scares them.
beard. Okay, grilled cheese. So this is a yes. This is worth eating.
They're good. Peanut butter, bacon. Seeing I was watching you concoct this, I was like, peanut butter, bacon.
Caramelized bananas. Okay, you ready? Grilled cheese. We each have our respective sauces.
Did we just give it a... Did we just
You
dip it
and
right
you go. Yeah, you dip and go. And then you got all over your face. Good. Are you gonna make one of these?
That's delicious. The hot sauce inside it. I think your sauce would be better, because I went for the spicy sauce.
You want to share? I'll share. I'm not usually a good sharer, but I'll share. Because you need to eat. Because you eat chicken all the time. I'll let you share.
It's constantly chicken.
Constantly. Is that like, I mean, do you do that all the time, or is it just in the lead up to some big fight or something?
It's easy enough to stay peak. So if you're constantly like that, it makes it easier to stay in condition. Whereas if you go off the rails and you eat loads and loads of unhealthy food, then it's harder to come back for the brink, we'll call it.
For the real brink. Well, that's the end of Liberty's Great American Cookbook for this week. And thanks again for my guest today, Paul Craig. And of course to you at home for watching. And remember, all of today's recipes are on the STV website. I'll be back soon with more Liberty's Great American Cookbook. See you then, and take care.